Hello folks, LA Little here with TA today, and today I'm going to take a look at the nuclear space. A couple days ago, looked at uranium in particular. Let's look at nuclear a little bit broader. Nuclear, of course, driven by all of this AI craze that's been going on for a couple of years now, and it's definitely shown up on the charts. If we look here, just using the NLR, which is the uranium nuclear energy ETF. You go back here and just look at the April lows, you almost got a double off that move. Now, the thing about it is, before I took a vacation, I said, and I'll go over here to the daily chart, I said, we may be getting some sort of a top here when we got this and to pull back, a little bit of volume spike. We've gone up about 10% since then. But I'm still in this camp here that think that more than likely we've seen probably the thrust and that we're going to get some backing and filling at this point. Doesn't mean you want to be short in this space, but it does say that you want to wait for a better entry. And when I pull up the retest regens, you can see here, this is the bar you want to be focused on. That's down around 98. So pull back into that area that's about 10% back. Would be an ideal spot for one to, so to speak, load up the truck one more time. If we look at it over here, that's that same area that you see these break of 2 swing points. And so you got to break out on multiple time frames, multiple swing points. That gives you a situation where you don't have to look back and you can just continue to drive to the upside, which is what this thing did. But still, look at your volume trails here. A lot of volume build up here as you got to the top. The great news about it is you actually have volume on the top now. This is the bar, and that's your top right there. So if you look at it from that perspective, that's good news. Now, going down to the daily here, you can see sort of a range starting to develop. You've kind of got it in this area. More broadly speaking, you could say it's about this big. Again, the 98 point that we're talking about is down into this area, so it would have to break to the bottom side of that range. Doesn't say that it's going to come back and hit this. It just says if it does, it's going to be a great buying opportunity, most likely. So that's the general uranium space. If we go look at some individual names, let's look at the isotope company here, ASP. And most of these are going to look the same. You're basically going to be at highs on all of these. So this one's tested the high, unable to break over it. You got a retest regen down below. It's tested once. If we look at it over here, basically a little consolidation up there. And when you go to the daily, you can see that consolidation taking form in this area. All of these stocks, I believe almost all of them, you're going to see opportunities to get long. I'm going to go back one more time to that nuclear energy ETF and point out to you here on the ABCDs. I didn't do that. You got a 182 target. So even though it's got a double, from this high to here almost, you're still looking at another, 60, 70% to get to the target up here. So all of that looks good. And then if you also look at your cube, you're a little stretched on the long term. But when you look at these others, they're not really stretched at all, right? So this thing could go quite a ways still. Going back to the individual stocks, let's look at CEG, which is the Constellation Energy. Again, your ideal entry is way back here. That's not going to happen. Go to the weekly and see if you can find an ideal one. It's here. So your price point on this one, ideal, around 255. That's where you'd prefer. Again, you've got some sort of a range already taking place here. Maybe it builds out larger. This bar is kind of the capture bar. If you get under that, then you can get something down into this area that I'm talking about. And let's see on the daily. Yeah, looks like a little ABCD down trying to take place here. This is the potential one. That one's pointing down into the 288 number which is, it's not there, but it's getting down towards this area that I'm talking about. So yeah, I think all of these, you just want to kind of be patient. If the nuclear space is going to take a rest, you're going to see some backing and filling, which allows you to get better entries. Vernova, GE's Vernova, this has been a rocket ship, but one of the best performers in the S&P 500. Ideal entry 450, probably not going to happen anytime soon, but you certainly could get an ABCD down. The points there about 590, so it's not that far down. I don't see anything here, to say, do you move on this? You just have to wait and see how it builds out. Most of these stocks, you're not going to see entries in this time frame. You're going to find them on the weekly at best, and probably on the daily. And the idea when you have a very strong move is you want to find places where you have kind of your back against the wall. So for example, I can see a nice big volume on this. I can see a swing point low here. A break of this swing point low would get me into a bearish state. You get a retest that sends you lower again, potentially. Then I could see this low of this area. This would be a sweet area, 533. That's way up here, right? So it's like nowhere near what you really want. But you can use this bar as kind of your stop bar. So if you get something down into this area, you could say, boy, I could take a shot here. We've got a long way to the top side. I know the direction is to the top side. I don't have to take a lot of risk on the entry. Got my back against the wall, and that's what I'm talking about. Let's go to the next one here. LEU, it's just Centrus. This one a little bit weaker recently. Nice spots around 110, but it's so far down. Almost everything's on the daily charts on these. All of these look good. I mean, I can't argue with any of them, really. Lightbridge looks the same. I'm just going to flip through these because I haven't done that. Now this one's a little bit weaker here. This is nanonuclear. So when I look at this on the daily, I mean, the first thing that always occurs to me when I look at these stocks and I see, okay, this one's weaker than the others, right? Is this the one I want to buy? Not really. I kind of want to buy the strongest, not the weakest. And so if I'm trying to get an entry here, I want it down towards the bottom of this range again, so I can put my back against the wall, which is down in this area. So I would probably, I wouldn't bite on this unless it got down that low, which is around 20, 28, even lower. That low is 25. Let's go to the next one. This one's been a hot one, OKLO. And yeah, very strong. I mean, this has already got a 7-fold increase, given what they do in the small modular reactors. And this looks like the area that you want to concentrate on, because right up underneath it here is, it's not going to get that deep though. Right up underneath it is a big support area. So this bar is the one I would concentrate on. 59 to 38. 59 gets you down to the bottom of the range. 38 is way down below. These would be, as you can see here, orange is more than one retest already. So these have been tested enough to where, getting down into this price range would not be abnormal. That's a $20 move. I think anybody that owns it now would think a $20 move is a crisis, but it's probably going to be a great opportunity if it does it. SMR, just like OKLO, has been extremely hot. You can see how this one has already came back quite a bit. All these retest regen zones, having been tested once, look like ideal spots. So I would be focused on the overlaps, because you have overlaps here. So this Swing point high here overlaps with that one, so that particular area is great. And that price point is about 29.66 down to 25.93. Low so far is 30. So yeah, that's quite doable. That could be a good entry right in this area right here. And again, you've got solid support back here. So, you know, if you're thinking about these longer term, which you should be, because they are going higher still, you focus on getting an entry, right? And then your ideal entry is, you know, wherever the retest region is the first time on your weeklies, if it's reasonable. Some of these aren't reasonable, like OKLO. And then you use that as the place that you load up if you have to. And you use the daily to do your trading. And so, yeah, I like this one. I like SMR. It's coming back. It's been extremely strong and is giving an opportunity. TLN, Talon Energy. Boy, this one is strong. Yeah, man, this is a strong one. There's you know, your weeklies over here already tested more than once, so I don't get extremely excited there, but yeah, I would be focused on this gap area right here with the big bar, volume bar. It's about 330. So quite a pullback to get there, but I think you're going to find that these will slowly work their way down. Last one I have on the list is Vistra. And again, another strong one. It's in its retest region now. The low of that's 174.85, which takes you down into this range. Big bar support there. Yeah, it's probably not a bad spot. So this one, I'd use the bottom of the range here. Okay, well, the ideal here is extremely strong sector. You know, you could just hedge your bets, go with NLR, and you know, just not try to guess, and say, okay, get a retrace here, especially if I could get a retrace into this retest regen zone, right? Then that would be an area that I'd want to just buy. If you want to go for the individual names, the ones that look like they're on the list right now, SMR is probably the premier one that I see. Lots of bands of support on the way down. And so I'd be focused on that. Let's see where the support resistance zone shows. Yeah, right at the bottom of that range. So that's where we're at. I like this group. It's you know, a segue from uranium. It's a great group to be in. It's probably going to continue as long as AI continues. As far as I can see, that's not going away. That's where we're at. Have a great one. Take care. See you next time.